So, one of the main reasons that I speak up on this topic is for the benefit of child safeguarding. And I often go back to the century old tale, Little Red Riding Hood, because it stands out as a integral lesson for safeguarding children and for children to be able to be responsive to their direct sense perceptions of their surroundings. Today, I want to talk about a group called Pop-n-Olly. They have a massive YouTube channel and they also create educational content that they then present in the schools. They also create books that are read in the schools, and they have a lot of very disturbing content, which is teaching kids the exact opposite of those 16th century lessons that we learned from the original Little Red Riding Hood. And today I want to talk about their version of Little Red Riding Hood, their rewriting, why it is incredibly dangerous as a lesson to give to kids, and why it stops them from being able to be responsive to their instincts, and why instead it is asking them to emotionally caretake disturbed adults. So let's look at this. So we're going to jump into the story right when Christopher is the boy in the story, where right when he meets the wolf.
Christopher was just thinking about what outfit he could wear this year when he heard faint sobbing. He looked behind him, and there on the ground was one very upset wolf. "My name's Christopher, or sometimes I'm called Little Red Riding Dude. I really like your dress, by the way." The wolf was wearing the most beautiful dress Christopher had ever seen. It was a lovely shade of red.
So, in the original version of this story, Little Red Riding Hood is noticing the physical circumstances of the wolf. She is using her senses to see his big eyes, his big ears, and his sharp teeth. In this version, Christopher is noticing the emotional circumstances of the wolf. He is noticing that this wolf is crying, and he is going to make an attempt to emotionally caretake the wolf, who is an adult. Then he is also noticing the superficial circumstances of this wolf. He is noticing the dress and how beautiful the dress is.
Wolf looked a little happier after Christopher's compliment. "Why, thank you," he said. "I made it myself. Oh, and I'm Mr. Wolf, by the way." "Well, Mr. Wolf," said Christopher, "it's wonderful." It was still very windy and rainy, so Christopher sat and talked with Mr. Wolf. After a while, the pair had shared stories, experiences, their likes and dislikes, and had even shared Christopher's lunch.
So we continue to see that Christopher is relating to Mr. Wolf on a peer-to-peer level. They are sharing their likes, dislikes, and this relationship that is beginning to develop is not an adult-child relationship, but a one-to-one relationship. This is very problematic to teach to children.
Christopher learnt that Mr. Wolf had many brothers and sisters, all of whom had an opinion about Mr. Wolf's fashion choices. Some disliked it, some found it confusing, and some were even angry. They just couldn't understand why a wolf would want to wear a dress. Sometimes they said mean things, and although it did not hurt Mr. Wolf physically, it hurt him inside.
Now, although the story says that they are both sharing their likes and dislikes, ultimately within the story, the only personal information that we learn about is the wolf. So the adult in the situation is unloading on this child everything that is happening in the adult world. The emotional circumstances of him relating to other adults is being unburdened on this child. And at no time is the wolf asking this child, what do you like? What don't you like? What is your emotional circumstance? So it's very much a reversal and a disturbing one. And the fact that this is given as a lesson to kids is pretty gross.
"You are hurt," said Christopher. "Yes," said Mr. Wolf. "I was only trying to be myself," he sighed. "I don't want to confuse or make anyone angry. Perhaps it would be better if I didn't wear this dress, and if I tried to be like the others." "No," Christopher jumped up. "Don't you dare. You are Mr. Wolf," Christopher continued, "and you mustn't let anyone else decide who you are. Whoever your heart tells you to be, then that is just fine." "But are you sure it's okay?" asked Mr. Wolf. "It's more than okay. It's wonderful," Christopher answered.
Notice that this is a situation where an adult is looking to a child for approval. It is the child in the story who is giving the wolf approval for his behavior, saying, yes, you can continue this behavior, when other adults are put off by this behavior or do not condone it for one reason or the other. So the story ultimately is one in which a child is emotionally caretaking an adult and giving that adult approval to have inappropriate behavior. In one of the books that I have spoken about before, this is Protecting the Gift. Gavin de Becker talks about one of the bottom lines is the issue for kids isn't necessarily stranger, but strangeness, inappropriate behavior. That is very relevant to note. And it is important to let kids know that it is not their job to emotionally caretake the adults in their lives. But this story is teaching the exact opposite. And at no point in this story is this child presented as having a natural fear of the wolf, of the predator. In all instances within this story, the child is caretaking the adult and is made to be emotionally responsible for this adult and their feelings. So this is very disturbing. I'm going to continue to cover this issue in terms of what Pop-n-Olly are producing and the issue of what is happening in schools. In my next video, I am going to cover a couple of instances of adults, specifically teachers, who are doing exactly what we see here in this story. Adults who are asking kids to bear the emotional burden of their feelings when they come out with these identities in schools. All right, thank you so much. To continue following me, go to www.theknownheretic.com. You can follow my YouTube, which is @knownheretic for longer form things, and leave me comments for more that you want to see. Thank you.